I hope that your day is going well and that you will have a minute later or as I'm going live today to share your thoughts and join this not so happy. Um, I would almost say, I would not call it a movement, but this not so happy series of events that have been going on. You're probably already guessing I'm talking about today again about the devastating case of Gabby Petito, but we are going to see what can we learn and why things like this take place when they are absolutely uncalled for. They are absolutely this should have never happened. I would put it this way, and I'm sure this is how most people feel. Almost want to be in black and white. I want to be in black and white. I'm gonna be in black and white just for now, just to show in Russia and Ukraine we put black and white for situations when you are sad or you're mourning about somebody. Thank you so much. And I maybe sometimes lost for words in this video just because it's so such a very, very sad event. And I would like, oh, excuse me, I would like to share with you guys on what can we actually, what can we learn from this? Can this be, could have this been prevented? Could, we don't really know all the details, but some things had come up, right? And I was thinking, learning a little bit more of the details, I'm coming to my first conclusion that I had. Bad things happen to us when we compromise with our with who we are inside of us, when we compromise with our standards, when we let people treat us badly and we find excuses even though we know it's wrong, but we just decide to put up with it for whatever reason. And there should be no reasoning to put up with abuse, with narcissistic abuse, with toxicity, with control. So I've learned that her Gabby's friend was sharing that she knew her for a couple of years, and she was coming often, after another fight, after another argument. And one of those times, he took her keys and she could not go out. So it's, manipulation and control and abuse. It was really interesting. We talked about it in my first video, that how this whole scenario plays out when you have somebody that is just playing a role, somebody who's playing a role. They're not truly concerned about you. They are playing a role. They getting their supply of energy from your pain. And we can see that, Brian was getting supply of his joy and energy, almost vibrancy, from her pain. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's possible to be happy and upbeat when somebody you love is is in tremendous emotional pain. I don't think it's possible. Even if you were feeling happy, you are human being, you have human response, so you probably go, it's gonna affect you. On the day when I learned, all this news, I actually had a really incredible day. Like, things were just magically aligning for me. I got some unexpected, lovely things, some benefits, some unexpected, very sweet things. And I was just like, man, this day is just amazing. Everything, you know, something that looked bad turned out to be good. I'm getting some recognition where I wanted to. I got a lovely surprise, and like it was a day full of give and receive, beautiful balance of just awesome things. When you put some seeds in the ground and then all of a sudden they start come off for you. So I just had such a incredible day being in this great flow, and then I'm learning about this. I've already, we already knew what the news is going to be, and I saw that news and I felt like my entire energy, of being happy and upbeat, it just was washed away. But it's only because I think we can't help but being empathetic. That what makes us human. So today's topic, my dear friends, thank you so much for commenting. I'm going to read your comments in a minute. So today's topic is, ending toxic, abusive relationships on time, early, can truly, can literally save your life. Gabby Petito would be alive if she decided that she's done with this. She had her car. If she had a little bit more confidence, a little bit more strength, it could have been the perfect time to break it off, because sounds like that vacation wasn't that great and that was not their first fight, and it's been going on for quite some time, and he was trying to get a hold of her vehicle and lock her out of it prior. And I think, sometimes you just have to put your foot down. Every relationship, every couple sometimes have a struggle. Sometimes um you have moments of disagreements. You even have periods when you don't get along as well, but everything has time and expiration date. If everything is a battle and it's going on for a long time, that just tells you that something is totally wrong. Maybe you're just not right for each other. It's not always that two people are bad, or one of them are bad. Sometimes it's just incompatibilities. They're not compatible. In this case though, it's just, it hurts so much to think about, when they got separated, again, be, because of the police, because police was involved. And if she would just have enough of courage, decisiveness, and have herself, her desire to preserve herself and heal herself, she would not be in that situation, where she is right now. If she would listen, when the woman is crying, she has her tears, she's emotionally, she's breaking down, it's complete withdrawal. And it was so ridiculous when he blamed her for abusing him. It's just virtually impossible for for an abuser to be more destroyed by this relationship than the person they supposedly abusing. But you know in general, women have a very, very strong intuition, and we also know how to heal ourselves. We have this magic. We really strive in creating, and we can change things around. We can change energies around things. We can completely destroyed to the ground one moment, and in another moment, if we just listen to our needs, we can take time and rest and turn into complete new human being with lots of energy, and we can slowly get our balance back. um I'm not saying that men cannot do it, but in this particular case, if she would listen, I can guarantee you this also. If she would listen to her heart when when she woke up that morning, if she would listen to her heart and her soul, to that pain that she had in her chest, to her absolutely exhausted, being, because that's what you feel after you had a terrible fight and it's been going on for a long time. She, if she would really know, what that uh self-protection is, she would just drive away. She would do what she was supposed to do, what she would do, he tried to do, but without hurting him or anybody else. You would just sit in her van and say, okay, I think this is over. I need to protect myself. I'm only one. I only have one of me. I wish that she would have that healthy, healthy selfishness or healthy self-protection, and she would realize, okay, this is my when, and this is me. And we are going to take care of me right now, because it's going way out of control. I'm here, I'm separated from my family, my parents, and there is not much I can do. So now, what can we learn from this? What can we learn from this? Of course, most relationships, thank God, do not finish in homicide or physical abuse, or death threats, or actual deaths of one in a couple. But I truly believe that one of the major problems in relationships between men and women, and I would say friendships too, is that people do not say goodbye on time. Two people in a relationship, when one person realize they do not feel that, they actually feel destroyed, that they are getting destroyed a little bit more day by day. They dying inside a little bit day by day, but they keep going at it with excuses. Oh, it's gonna get better, it's gonna, and again, every couple have arguments, every couple have their moments, but if that's becoming a style, if you afraid to say anything because you will say you will say one little word and it will lead to whole big drama, that's a first sign that you are suppressed, uh, manipulated, and you are abused emotionally, and possibly in many, in many other ways. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to put some deadline on your relationship if you do not want to end up dead, I mean, you have to put a deadline on things. And once again, sometimes when we fall in love, we see only the best in each other, but then when you start living together or take trips together, that triggers the life out of you, right? It can truly trigger you when um you start to spend a lot of time together, and you are two different people coming together, and very often we connect with people the most who have similar traumas, and we trigger the life out of each other sometimes. But in a healthy circumstance with both people who have empathy, who have a desire to be together, who see value in each other, they willing to work on that, they willing to own up to their mistakes, they willing to learn, they do not want to keep those fights, they do not enjoy seeing the other person suffering. As I mentioned earlier, it's virtually impossible to laugh or being emotionally distant when you truly care for somebody. Once again, you may have the most amazing day, but when the person you love or you care about is sick or they're having a bad day, your mood is going to go down. And it's not because, you can't hold to a good mood, but it's because it's impossible. We have something that called empathy, and when there is lack of empathy and you feel less and less around a particular person, and it's just going down the spiral, if that if you are the only one willing to work, or if there isn't, you know I feel like, relationship is almost like a life spirit, like it's a spirit of its own, and it needs nurturing, it needs sunshine, it needs time, it needs communication, it's like um a lively spirit, it should be nurtured and taken care of, just like our physical body. So yeah, when you don't get that, and you make excuses that, oh, it's gonna get better, my parents live like this, well, everybody fights, or when we make those excuses, because we are so worried what somebody else is, or look at him, he failed another marriage, or look at her, yet another relationship. It's like, what, yes, we do have some social pressure, and it's not so pleasant to sometimes see people discussing your relationship, but in the end of the day, it only matters that that relationship feels good to you, that it fulfills you, that when you close your eyes before you go into bed, you feel calm, you feel peaceful. And that's okay if somebody does not, like the person you're with, because they don't have to worry about it, right? It's your decision. But most of time, what I'm learning, and I think what most people struggle with, the relationship looks great on social media, and relationship looks great for other people. There is always this game playing, when other people are looking at you. But when you go to bed, you may be not even going to bed together, and you go to bed, you feel neglected, you feel hurt, or you feel abused. This is something that nobody should struggle with alone. you know Nobody should. Sometimes you need some help to take some decisions, and it's okay. And sometimes you doubt your sanity, when in case with Gabby, she was you can see that she felt guilty for everything. That's another sign of this, like, I've noticed that a long time ago, the people who are really victims, they always feel like it's their fault, and it's it's virtually impossible to stand for yourself when you are the victim. The victim and standing for yourself, they are contradicting. There's it's not just the same, it's the opposite of the spectrum, and also when your self-esteem is so low, and you really, you just see everything. You really think it's all your fault. You really think it's all your fault. And that's why a lot of victims and women who endure abuse and toxicity, and also men too, men endure abuse too, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and sometimes physical. It comes both ways. They just feel like they feel guilty. They feel like, it's their fault, and they feel guilty. So they don't want to do anything that will upset the other person, including the persons that abusing them. So sometimes you can't see a critical look. Have you ever been in a situation when you have guilted yourself, and you thought, you only think it's your fault, you only think this is just you, it's your fault, and it feels terrible, and you just go in this vicious cycle, even though you allow this to happen, and but you are still the victim, you still let the situation progress. So anyway, I just wanted to say that doing things on time, not postponing these decisions, not postponing that, what, he abused me for 2 years. Well, but the thing is, the victim won't even they wouldn't say even he abused me. They justify that this is normal, the people who are true victims, they don't really consider even this to be abuse. That is a problem, because once you know your enemy, you can do something about it, right? Anyway, I'm just, I think this situation is just a huge, huge, huge wake-up call for everybody who is in an abusive relationship, who is in in a relationship where they feel scared, manipulated, controlled, abused, verbally, emotionally, or physically. It's a huge wake up call. And I do realize that, it doesn't happen, it just so happens that this story was on social media, and it got so viral. And I know there is more things like this happening. Maybe they are not as public. This one just seemed to keep a lot of this story got a lot of traction, probably because of, Gabby's likability, her just, young, fresh spirit, her social media that she had started, or I think the news just, it was so unexpected. And news and everybody, all the media got right on it. But uh, of course, it's an extreme case, and I'm sure that, there are more cases we don't know. The, domestic abuse and homicide and things like this, they happened a lot. I could one thing that I could never do ever is work in law enforcement. It's like we all good at something, but I cannot imagine working in law enforcement or being detective and learning about things. You have to have a specific cold head, what I would say, so you can't get emotionally involved, because nobody wants to deal with detective or police officers that's gonna break down on the spot. Yeah. And and lose it and just internalize. So oh yes, yes, I'm gonna read your comments, guys. I decided to go a little bit further just to make this a complete to make a point before I start reading, so it's a little bit easier for people to watch later. But oh, thank you, David. Thank you so much for the Cash App. He said thank you for taking your time to to share your thoughts on this. Yes. Thank you so so much. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate it very much. Yes, I actually have so much going on in my own life right now, but it's just, we can't be only focused on us and everything about us, because it just makes us human yeah, I just really think that empathy, you can't think about it and be empathetic. Empathy is just something, it's a natural reaction, it's a natural response. And so 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 very sad. But there are lessons to learn. And I'm glad that Gabby's family gets tremendous support from or just about anybody, and they definitely deserve it. Oh, okay, another thing that I wanted to mention, when Gabby disappeared, and it was very uh, under very peculiar circumstance. There was, no information about her. Now, when Brian disappeared, aka, escaped the country, most likely, his parents are asking police to help. And I just want to say, yeah, karma is a bitch, isn't she? It's like, God knows, maybe there was at least a slim chance to save her. Again, we can have our guesses, we can think what happened, but I'm pretty sure that something was done to her physically, because otherwise he would come to his senses and come and rescue her, or ask somebody to rescue her, so he won't get charged with, you know something very serious. So, but there's still a slight chance sometimes, when you get injured or hurt, there is still a slight chance of survival. So he made sure that there is no chance of survival for her. And yeah, and also waiting for so long. This is we talked about this in my first video. It's like, yeah, and thank you guys for those of you who kind of explain me how American law works. But here is the thing: is they could have come up with him hijacking her car because it was her vehicle. People come up with all kinds of things all the time when they need to stop somebody to check on them, right? I can drive my vehicle and I can forget my driver's license, and they would say, hey, we need to go with us, we need to check something. By giving this so much time, like 25 days, now you cannot define, it would be much harder to define what was done to her. So anyway, I this is just my last point, like last point that I wanted to make in the previous video, is that you know they are so like obeying, not to offend somebody. It's like it reminds me like a fake feeling of hope, like, when you have hope, when things are pretty obvious, if you use common sense, you really deny the reality. I hope, I think, we talked about this, that it was pretty obvious that she won't be found alive. It was pretty obvious. So when cops and all these people are, hoping, again, in this case, hoping is lying to yourself, really. Is nothing but by misleading your own self, because you understand sometimes you have to do certain things that may not be by the protocol, but they can save somebody's life. That's one thing that I am, being from Eastern Europe, I can never understand. If something can save somebody's life, and it's not on a protocol, or it's going to happen, you can figure out that later. And I'm not saying accusing or holding somebody hostage or doing anything terrible to somebody, but just getting them at least having a reason to stop them and have a conversation. Because from that conversation, the body language expert and experts, people who work for, they know. Like, I remember sometimes being stopped by the police because I maybe drove over the speed limit or just ask something, and they ask you questions, and when you speak without tension, when you are confident, when you are relaxed, they know you don't have anything to hide. I had so many times when I was going through some control. When you travel, you go through different stations, and sometimes they don't even look at your ID, they don't even look at your driver's license, because they can tell that you're relaxed. They can read, so they deal with people all the time. So if anybody would talk to him, find another reason, again, like being concerned about the car, or the car was hijacked, or parents need the car, or whatever, find a reason to stop him, especially that he was the only one person. If they would ask him a question, he would get all crazy. It would be so obvious that there would be a reason to do something. But I don't know, to me there's just such a covert mentality. This is a covert mentality, and it's like, okay, it reminds me a little bit of some of laws and mandates we have right now. It's like, yeah, I don't care if that's gonna hurt you, I don't care if you can't breathe, I don't care if you may have allergy, I don't care of this or that, but you have to do this. What if, like, What if somebody spends 9 hours wearing a mask and then they faint, or they will have a heart failure or something like this? So is this, if the person say, "Oh my gosh, I can't breathe anymore, I'm losing, I'm passing, I'm about to pass out," is it important to yell at the person and say, "No, you need to follow the protocol"? Or sometimes you need to ditch the protocol and go with your experience and intuition. People who work in law enforcement and all these places like that related, they can see, they can scan things before they appear. I do understand that by the law they cannot do certain things, but my question to them, if they would have known this, would they do something differently? And I hope that the person that could have done something differently, I know that they could have done things differently, and I hope that somebody that he will be, the person that created all this mess, will be held accountable, but it's going to be very hard to find him. Just can't help sharing, some, afterthoughts about all of this. But this could have been prevented. This could have been prevented to begin with her taking control of her life, realizing that, that is not okay to cry every day. That is not okay not to be able to laugh or smile freely. This is not okay when, your boyfriend gets jealous because you're starting a YouTube channel. You haven't even made any real success yet, but you are in the spotlight and you have the courage to do something from your heart, right? You have the courage to get out there. Those of you who ever took a camera and record the video and post it on social media, it takes a lot of courage to take a camera and make a post with you speaking there, sharing thoughts. It takes a lot of courage. You don't have to have, like, millions and hundreds of thousands of followers to make an impact. And she wanted to, I think she wanted to probably inspire people to get out there, explore. And it takes a lot of it takes a special kind of person to be willing to share their journey. And I think, for the abusive and controlling persons, they just can't stand somebody being in the spotlight but them. Even though I think I actually have not checked her channel, so I don't know how long she has been doing YouTube. But if she would realize that, okay, how when you're with the wrong person, you can't really share happy things with them because you feel like you're gonna be punished for it or criticized, or those things gonna be diminished. you know the thing's gonna be diminished. Like, you're excited about something, you have this new idea, and you will share it with somebody, or you already do it, and they will say, well, this can go wrong, this can go south, or you can make a mistake, you're gonna lose money on this, or what if somebody finds you, blah blah blah. I cannot even tell you how much abuse people are going through. Like, abuse, not literally, but when they decide to do something, and some would be in the spotlight, because other people who do not have the courage, they feel like it's their job to undermine and it's especially devalue. When you excited somebody, oh my gosh, I got my first 1,000 subscribers or something, or it's so exciting, and you have a partner who would be like, well, look at those 500,000 channels, you suck. I've actually, it's really interesting. I've actually observed many situations when, your significant other, supposed to be your biggest fan. Like, if you're not her biggest fan, if she's not your biggest fan, like, what are you doing together? But a lot of times, you are sleeping with an enemy, a frenemy, but it's just natural to be excited for the person you love. I have people, we all have people that we admire. Sometimes I watch somebody, doing like encouraging, inspiring things and going up, in their business. Or I have some friends who have YouTube channels, and sometimes like some things are taking off for them. It is so inspiring, and sometimes I have tears in my eyes, just like, it's just, we are all connected, and we can all thrive through, we are all part of one. So the more people are thriving, the more this virus of inspiration and doing things, the more everything becomes. Yeah, it's just, it's not like there is only this much of spotlight, and there is not like, there is not, there is no lack. And the thing is, sometimes you don't have, um sometimes people comparing themselves, and they have different purpose. They have absolutely different purpose. So you can't really compare. It's like, comparing fish and a monkey or porcupine. You can't compare them. They serve different purpose and different, it's different kind of animal. So, man, it feels so heavy. I wanted to come out today, especially, I don't know if I would be doing all this, but making the first video, I wanted to come out today. It feels so heavy. It's vein heavy on my heart. I wanted to come last night, but I had to focus on something else to just kind of process this a little bit. And also, I just was afraid that I'm just gonna break down on the camera, and it's, nobody needs that. And it's not, you know it's not about adding more drama to it. I mean, I feel for her, for not just for, Gabby, but for all people who, losing their loved ones, who watching their children being abused. And the thing is, people who are being abused, very often they feel it's normal. That's the last thing I'm going to say before I finally read your comment. Most people who are being abused, they actually feel it's normal. It's like, you know, and that's why they take responsibility and accountability and say, oh, I have OCD, I have anxiety, I have depression. And the manipulators like that, that narcissistic people like that, they actually telling you this. They telling you that it's you, it's you, it's you. They have that message. Sometimes, it's hidden, but often it's kind of direct. They just tells you it's all your fault. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, my dear friends, thank you so much for joining. What are your thoughts? Please share with me. What are your thoughts? Do you think this should have been prevented? Do you think that, man, if she would only listen to her intuition, she would only listen to her exhausted heart, soul, mind, body, she would drive, she would get up that morning and think, I am done. If she would have that healthy self-esteem, if she could call her mom or her dad and tell them the truth, if she would just put a stop. And honestly, that stop would already be late. I mean, it's really late as well. According to people who knew them both, it's been going on for a long time. And that is why in this video, in this live stream, I wanted to tell you that we are procrastinators when it comes to let toxicity go, because we don't want to make people upset. But when somebody when somebody only puts you in only puts you down, it's never uplifting, it's never inspiring. Or even if it is good for a minute, then it goes, it just, oh, everything is a battle. It's in your hands to stop it. That is the power of being an adult over being the child. Because when you're a child, there is not much that you can do sometimes. right? It's hard to take control of things, but we forget that when we are adults, we have power over all of this stuff. We have power over enduring this every single day, and there should be a deadline. There should be, when you are not sure, we all have moments of doubts, and sometimes tough moments. If you're not sure about something, that is a time to put a deadline. If this is still going on, honestly, to me, I, I think one or two chances are almost too much. When you give a second chance to somebody, you basically, it really depends on the situation. But giving somebody more than one or two chances, it's becomes your responsibility. Why you may find yourself injured, hurt, being locked into a mental facility, or completely losing your mind. I'm not very big believer in the second time, what it is, second time around. Like, I'm not very big believer in second chances and benefits of the doubt, because those things get you killed. You know, either, you know, in this case, in this case, it's obvious, what happened, but it kills you. It affects you emotionally, and then you becoming half of yourself. You just becoming shadow of yourself, and the shadow of yourself cannot take courageous decisions. The shadow of yourself is not, you losing your power, you losing your strengths. The shadow of you cannot have a lot less courage than the original authentic you was standing in your power. It takes courage to break things up, because there is comfort in, there is a weird comfort in when you get used to the way things are, even if they're not good for you. So breaking and ending toxic, abusive, controlling, manipulative relationships in your life can literally save your life, can save you from so much. So much. Yeah, by the way, we just had the case here in Michigan a couple nights ago. I don't want to know the statistics. I don't watch news on this. I cannot follow these things, because it just takes all of me to recover from. But I was up the other night. It was maybe 10:30 p.m. and I get the Amber Alert. The two children, 3 and 4 years old, were kidnapped, and the men who kidnapped them killed their mother. I mean, just like that. I think there are probably so much more cases with physical abuse and ending in death and serious injuries and all of that. But as I said, I have to separate myself from this, because I just could not last as a police officer for very long. Could not do that at all. I really respect people who are very strong, who can deal with this stuff mentally. We need that. We need them, right, to being able to figure things out. But I think what we need maybe even more is some kind of prevention, talking with children in school. What is a healthy relationship? It's so incredible to me that in school, we learn everything but about healthy relationships. We don't learn anything about relationships in school. We don't learn anything how to make living, how to raise kids, but we definitely do not learn what is a healthy relationship, how it looks like, right? So when you know how it looks like, you're not gonna give no chances to nobody. You're just gonna be checking out from something that is harmful to you. But I do wish that they would be prevention, like not necessarily literally prevention centers, but I wish there would be classes held for young people, for teenagers, for people who are about to step up in life and create their, start their independent individual journey. I wish somebody would be talking about those things, right? I wish somebody be talking to young women and young men too, what is healthy and what is not, just to learn about normal healthy interactions and kind of getting some positive examples. Because if this girl would have, once again, if she would be aware of this, she would show those signs, she would have the understanding this is just not okay. Well, I don't think they teach any relation. I don't know. I did not study in US. I studied in Ukraine, but we never studied relationships, you know? It's like, that's not important. You will only need this knowledge for your entire life, but it's not important. Raising kids, not important. Finding a, selecting a spouse, not important. It's much more important to study chemistries that you will most likely never use. And I have nothing against chemistry, but I really think that a lot of a lot of us need some skills, and I think that boys should be learning separately from the girls. Some things, some things boys need, something girls need, but we are trying to pretend that we are all equal, and how's that been working out? Women get tricked by men who using them for money and fame, and forgetting about natural dynamics of things. When the man is pursuing you, the man is is working hard to earn your trust, all of these things, they all got messed up. So I understand the young people, they don't really know what's going on. They are very confused. They don't understand the gender roles. In fact, gender roles considered, oh, you're a misogynist, and stuff and things like that. So, but most of all, healthy dynamics should be discussed. People should be able to share their experience. They should maybe do some role play, what is right and what is not, because if you didn't have that in your family, how do you learn this, right? Where do you find that model to look at or to inspire you to try to accomplish that in your life? Okay, guys, I'm gonna come back to caller and read your questions. Thank you so much. Hello, David. Hello. Hi, Bill. Hi, Yelena. Jeanette, Jerry, Joseph. Why not teach our young men not to treat women like this? It does take two. Yeah, it does take two, but it doesn't matter if the woman is triggering you. Maybe she's not one for you, but there is no excuse for hurting somebody physically, emotionally, or verbally. If you have to take your responsibility, and I don't know. Honestly, it sounds like a very crooked family, because if there would be a decent family, his parents would come forward right away, even though it's a child. But again, you don't cover your child from something, you just do what you have to do. It doesn't mean you betray. But first of all, you raise your child right, number one. If your needs are not neat, if you're triggered, if you're unhappy, the door is open. Move on that way, right? If something triggers you, there's plenty more options, again, you're not happy, fine, find somebody you'll be happy with, but don't just don't murder somebody just because they wear the wrong sweaters that day. Oh, thank you, Jason. I'm sorry I can't read your last name, but thank you so much. It says took me a long time to figure out how to do Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate it, and thank you for supporting the show. I don't know if you ever commented. You know, one of those people who like to be sometimes in the shadows. Thank you. I appreciate it. Especially like, I don't know why. It's really, I like to make topics like more, when we just laugh and talk about things. It's really painful. And but there is time and place for everything. I just hope that young women will learn something, and sometimes don't think that their dad is an idiot. Guys, I do understand that dad can't force somebody who is over 18 or 21 to do certain things, but it's not about forcing your kids to be certain way. It's about investing your wisdom, your attention, your being an authority, that your daughter, even when you're not around, she would think, he doesn't treat me well. I wonder what my dad would think about this. My dad would have a short conversation and exit right in this moment. When it's not about dictating your kids and like trying to scare them. No, what you do is you install that, and you show that with your example, but you show them that they are valuable. They are their their value does not depend on what somebody thinks about them. They came into this world as a worthy human being. You put your love, your care, everything into them, and uh, they will make their choices. You see, when you have that strong base, you don't become in this overnight. When you have that strong sense of self, when you have your confidence, when you know what true love is, maybe your dad was loving and supporting, and your mom too. This is not true love. This is unhealthy. You would not stay there for long. You would stay there for a very short time, and you would enter or exit with no return. So I hope that this story with Gabby Petito will inspire some people and some women, young women, and women, I would say women of all ages, but especially the young women who just start, to not always be that lighthearted, before you go on a long hike, or on a long trip with somebody, you make sure that you have a backup plan, that you can leave at any time. But even before you even consider going, is this person who really proves themselves to you? What your father thinks about them? Did you see them in action? Did you see them in crisis? And I won't say this, a lot of men avoid crisis. They always try to be super sweet, overly polite, and other words, fake. A lot of guys, when they date, they have their representative. They have a fake person. Yes, sweetie. Yes, honey. Would you like this or would you like that? Would you like this sauce or would you like me? And it's so fake, because normal person cannot always stand on their toe all the time. Thank you, Jeanette. you know it's really weird when I interact with certain people, and I know they do not show their true personality. They are fake, but then like when they drop a piece of pizza or they do some. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thanks so much for the PayPal super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. You decided to do the this type today too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um Man, what was I saying? Yes, so when the person is absolutely, you know perfect all the time, yes, so they drop a piece of pizza or spill the coffee or something happens that they could not predict. They like, how sometimes the person does not know you see them, and they act weird, or they yell at somebody, or they get really uptight and weird. Like, I have seen this many times, like, shit, and good and well that when you do those things, they hold themselves like this. But where would you be in a different circumstance when they a little bit more familiar with you? You going to be that cat or the dog, or they gonna be yelling at you, and they're gonna lose your temper. A lot of people train themselves to appear perfect and non-conflict and all of that, but this is not who they are. We talked about this before. There is no perfect people. There are only perfect masks. That's why we learn to apologize, and sometimes if you're saying something and like, the person who truly cares about you, if they made something wrong, if they realize they hurt you, it's not gonna be like this. I'm sorry. I literally, when I hear that, like in real life, I'm sorry. It's like I can't copy this voice right now exactly how it is. It's like, oh, it's like I'm sorry, but it's completely distant and it's so uninvolved. You know what I mean? It's like detachment. There is such a, I'm sorry. It's like it doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean anything. The person who truly regrets, guys, the arguments, misunderstandings happen all the time. But the person who truly cares about you, they will think about it and they will come back. It's not just going to be, well, I'm sorry. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be, they will want to sit you down and they will want to talk to you. They will want to just open up and share and, really own up to what they did. And you can feel they're probably going to have tears in their eyes for hurting you. Like, you can't mix it up, You can't. People who truly care about you, they would not just be an apologize for 357th time, but they would mean it and they would stop the behavior. That's the best apology, is acknowledging what happened and having a change of behavior. So in this situation, if Gabby would be more aware of things, right? If young women in general would be more aware of things, and even somebody apologizes, which I doubt, he did a lot of apologies, discovering his personality now, but realizing that, oh wow, it's not happening. Maybe the person says I'm sorry, but the behavior is not changed. If somebody keeps the same behavior, how do you keep letting them do what they're doing to you? So that's why, my dear friends, in this video, we're talking about realizing, acknowledging the abuse in your relationship, verbal, physical, emotional, financial, and exiting as soon as you can, because it can cost you. It can be as expensive as losing your life, losing your health, losing your mental health, being broke, inside and out. If the person does not change their behavior, that is your responsibility what happens next. All right. Some people just do not know how to walk away, and they think that they need permission from somebody. Like, somebody need to grant them a permission. Like, they need to validate me, so I know, I can walk away now. You don't need validation. If you wake up in tears, if you shrink, if you're scared, if you can't breathe, you don't need validation. You already have intuitive system inside of you that is rejecting this. Your higher self, your divine, self, your divine spirit is rejecting this treatment. It's and that's why you have tears. That's why your body, mind and soul is fighting that. They want you to heal. They want you to get away from that. This is a natural response. We don't always have mental help available through humanity, but we have those instincts. How sometimes your throat, you start to feel something in your throat. Like with me, I always feel tension in my chest or like cold in my stomach. You know, like feel really cold in my stomach or like tension in my chest, like there is a stone and it's just forcing you and you can't breathe. So when you have those responses, you have to pay attention, and stopping that as soon as possible can save your life, right? Wait, just a moment. I'm gonna go through some more comments. Sorry, guys, I'm getting carried away, but I just really want to share these thoughts with you. I know I received some, requests about the follow up and that happened yesterday. It just was, I don't know. This one really came through my heart. I don't know why. I don't know, but I know just millions of people feel the same way. So. Jerry says, I know my parents taught me the best they could considering the problems in their life. Yes, good. That's good to realize. Yes, exactly. It does take a village to raise a child. I agree, Bill. Exactly. Exactly. Yes, Yelena. Again, as I say, if a man abuses me once, it's his fault. If a man keeps on abusing me, that's your responsibility. Yes. And I said again, women abuse men too. So it goes both ways. Some people just don't know. Yes, I read that. David, and I know, David, you asked me to do the video. It's probably now, been a while since, and I just wasn't able to, about the girl who disappeared hiking. I don't know that story. As I told you, I try not to listen to these stories, but that could be, that's probably a very powerful story as well. I can just say in short that do not go on a long time commitments with people you never met and spend significant time with, getting to know them, getting to know their family and so on. So I don't know the wait, no. I don't know the exact story, but never commit to something that can last many hours with a person you never met in real life. It should be much shorter. And yeah, I will I don't know if I can handle to look into it with all this, but I will just look at some main points. But I'm pretty sure my answer on that, David, would be that get to know somebody before you go with them alone somewhere far away in the wilderness or traveling with them. Get to know them really well. And still have your room. Don't stay in the same room with somebody when you just getting to know them. And go public places. You can't go to secluded areas or beaches or hikes. Absolutely not. That would be a good date safety video. Alcohol, David is saying, I believe alcohol and drugs bring out bad, which perhaps already exists in some people. Yes, definitely alcohol and drugs does not help. Hello, luxury queen, welcome. Oh, thank you, Nick. You have the right words to say. Subscribe to your channel. Great content. Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. I feel a little bit honestly all over the place. I know that it would be great to make a short video on this just to make my points. But I just felt like I want you to have own life and being able to connect with you. I know everybody is, is feeling quite a bit of sadness, and it's affecting all of us, guys. When somebody dies, especially somebody dying suddenly, somebody so young, it just really give us all a wake-up call. Yes, I'm really concerned about his parents. Sounds like they are, that he learned from them. Yes, like Brian parents seem to be from the same, made from the same dough, obviously. Thank you, Jeanette. You're so sweet. Thank you. Jeanette, what do you learn in health class, 7th or 8th grade? I'm not talking about, learning about sex. I'm talking about relationships. I have not ever heard of schools that teaches relationships. Maybe some schools that learn psychology, but I think soon enough, because we have so many relationships experts and relationships coaches and stuff like and people like that, they probably will have relationship coaching in school, just giving people an idea what to look for, what to avoid. Of course you're gonna learn this from your experience, but you have to at least have an idea. Yeah, somebody says that, Elena says that Gabby called off her engagement. Yeah, it was very strange about the engagement. Like, it was on and off. It was kind of blurry. Like, I don't think there was any, since they knew each other for a while, so there was any particular date set or any plan. And I think they may have been engaging for a long time, and it says it was called off. So that's kind of, she probably was suffering, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say what was really going on. I can't imagine, just can't imagine, seeing your daughter in that. And that's why dads should have some maturity. Dads should be able to say, honey, I want to talk to you. So how do you feel when he does this or he does that? And a lot of young girls, they're afraid to tell their dad the truth because they know that their dad is going to be on it. They know that their dad will not put up with this shit. Oi. Oh my gosh. David is saying, I believe that her best chance of surviving was her wisdom. Yes, the red flags that were ignored should not have been. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Let me. Wait, what is moving? Guys, I'm not very good with this. Oh, hello, Simone. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for supporting. I appreciate your contributions. Thank you. And Simone is saying, I agree that a girl should not be exclusive to a man until she accepts a proposal. I think that the young man having to win the girl over reveals his character. Yes, 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 yes. It's like everything you don't when you go and you get a car, right? You have to have good credit rating. You have to have some money that you're making. You have to kind of prove for your words, because if every person who gets a car financed, only 50% of these people will pay. All these companies would have a lot of problems, and some probably go broke, right? So yes, I think that a lot of privileges are given to go away. Sorry, guys. I think that a lot of privileges are given to young men who did not earn them. Just because you're over 18, it doesn't mean that, you now, you earn the title of a man with a big M, with a capital M. It doesn't make you automatically you're a male. You are, you are starting doing something, but you're not yet a leader. You're not yet, you have not earned that title. I totally agree. And fathers, if I have fathers of young daughters here, this is so, so true, Simone. I could not agree more with you. She should not have been if she would not be exclusive with him, and she would say, you know what, I am just I'm learning about life, like, let's go out on dates. And I think another big mistake that women do is that they get into into intimate relationships very fast. They cannot think, and then they feel like, well, I cannot date as a man because I'm intimately involved. So how do I do this? So, well, that's why you do not get intimately involved, and you have your freedom of choice till you have the man that proven himself. And sometimes it may take a couple of years, you know and some people say it's old-fashioned, but I would just say it's better to be old-fashioned than dead. It's much better. It's better to be old-fashioned than found dead. at the age of 19 or 22, or at any age for that matter. But I think all of this especially applies to younger women, because women who are more mature, that maybe have been married before, or have more life experience, they would not as they are not as naive. They know more. They already have some of their own wisdom. They would not do these things. They have more confidence. They have higher standards, often, not always, but often. They like, it's hard for like a 16-year-old to trick a woman who's 28, like, to try to because she simply has more life experience. I mean, for a kid to try to, you know it's harder. The more life experience you have, the smarter you are. The smarter you are from your own experience. And sometimes it comes at a price, but at least, that's why we need our parents a little bit less, in a way. It's not as crucial for them to support us at 16, 17, when we are just like, have no idea what we are doing, than supporting us, at 45. It's a little bit, yes, it's still amazing when you have that, but it's crucial difference when you help your young adult, not with forcing things, but you raise them right. And then when they lose direction, you ask them the right questions, so they find the answers themselves. You don't have to, be like super dominant or anything like this, because kids usually do the opposite. But when you raise them right, you will let them, you set them up for a better future. So I totally agree. And Simone, I talk about this on my channel all the time, that ladies, do not give titles and commitments to men that take you out for ice cream, and take your car and living in your house. First of all, do not let them live in your house. And now we know good and well, do not let them, manipulate you, with your own with your own vehicle. Don't let them, don't let the man control you. Like in this case, we see so much control. He tried to lock you out, probably God knows what else. It's like, it's my car, by the way, you should have your own. Seriously, women get emotionally dependent on men who did not invest or prove themselves to them. They give them the exclusivity, and they let them control them. And this is all happens, when you don't have, especially when you do not have a good father that calls us out. Yes, don't be shy to ask you that. Dads know how men are. Most dads, especially if you have powerful dad. If you don't have a dad, sometimes you did not grow up with a father, or your father is not good at this, find another mentor. But I think having a man mentor is really important in learning the dynamics and understanding man. Like, find a mentor. It could be your uncle, it could be a coach, it could be somebody. How sometimes in the family you have this one really wise person, or you have certain, somebody who is have that brilliant mind that you can talk to, that won't judge you but will give you a direction, will tell you something that you need to hear at that moment, and definitely, will not encourage you to becoming emotionally, physically, becoming bankrupt because you give everything to a man, and he took it all. Guys, I have a lot of men here at different ages. How many of you, like, when you meet a woman and you don't need to move a finger, she's just, ready to be with you? You realize, man, I didn't even work hard, I didn't do anything, she's already up for everything I offer. Yes, fathers understand the nature of men. And I'm not saying that the men men are bad, but there is some things you need to know and understand. mothers can, if mothers no were successful in relationship with men, if they were adored, if they were, you know, highly sought after, if they did the most with their opportunities, if they invested things the right way, if they were knew how to be emotional but not but be, they were smart, you know, if you had a mother that was always admired, you know, she would always get special treatment, men seems to worship her, you know, like her husband, her man, and then everybody else would look at her like with adoration and respect. Yes, she can teach you a lot as well, but she will mostly teach you femininity and women's wisdom, something that men cannot teach you, because most men cannot teach you femininity and women's wisdom, right? But women's wisdom is very, very powerful, and that's why young women should spend time with more mature, older women who are mentors. But it's important that they had happy, successful life, or maybe they had a rocky journey in the beginning, but then they found peace, and they are where they want to be. So from these women you can learn how to position yourself, you know, how to hold yourself, how to choose, make the right choices, how to, you know, we have our ladies secrets. So that's why you know, we're doing it mentors, because, you know, men cannot teach us, you know, how to be a woman, but you can teach us something that, you know, those, you know, men's thought process, which is quite different from women's. So yep, so these are the thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for contributing, and thank you for supporting the show. Yes, definitely. Definitely a personal problem. Yes, guys, if you want to support the show, I mean, if you want to support the channel and you want the channel to grow, consider becoming a member of the channel. And this way, you will always also have access to all of my videos, because some of them are here and some of them are here only for the time of a life. And then they go to Patreon or membership. So it's completely your choice. But if you would like to, we would like to have you on the off public platform. So sometimes, you know, we can have live chat, or we can discuss some topics that you know, just not open for public eye. We can just talk about more personal things, and just in general, that lets me know that you're enjoying my content. Thank you so much for those who joined. Also, you come and stand out in a live chat. When you do that, you turn green. Yeah, I really think that American culture of boyfriends and girlfriends really set women, especially women, back, because for men it's not as bad of a deal. But I think, you know, American culture of girlfriends and boyfriends are really setting women back, because women think that, oh, you know, I have a man, I have a boyfriend, but, you know, bank do not mention anything about your boyfriend, right? When you go to, you have some legal things, they do not include boyfriends. You know, when you take decisions for your life, does not include boyfriends. When your mortgage is due, does not include boyfriend. You know, when you have expenses and you have to take care of your family, you know, boyfriends are usually nowhere to be found. So unless men take active care and providing fully for a woman, he does not have a say, and he shouldn't have a say. And, you know, I'm just, you know, the man who investing in you, whether he's young, old, in between, the man who is investing in you, he is less likely to harm you. You know, this man didn't have to invest much, it looks like, right? This young one, the man who is investing in you, who is sweating, you know, who is working whatever his job is, who put countless hours to bring something home, to make sure you have everything you need, to make sure, you know, you are warm and safe and fed, and hopefully you have some extras, because you guys know we need to shop sometimes, right? So but when he is investing his time, his effort, his finance, his sweat, blood and tears, again, he's less likely to hurt somebody emotionally, verbally, physically. When he This is how men love, saying things. Yes, I mean, it's just like, oh, it's pleasant to receive a compliment, but you can't really, it's hard to love somebody unless you pour into them and do the work. When you do the work, when you pour your heart into somebody, you are less likely to ever hurt them, because you are invested. You are invested, and you want that to work. You don't invest in something you don't believe in. You don't invest in somebody who does not inspire you, does not deserve you, does not, you don't want to be with. That would not make any sense, right? So definitely, in the case we're talking today, even the vehicle was hers, and that was make it. This is what makes the situation so suspicious in the beginning. That it's like, you coming in her vehicle was, together, but you coming back still in her vehicle but alone. I really, really wish they would charge them with hijacking. They would say, oh, missing vehicle, vehicle was reported. Sometimes I think in a war in love, sometimes you have to use some techniques to see, because if once again, if there was a chance to talk to this man, they did everything to let him escape. But if they would talk with him, he will sell himself. He would be stuttering. He will be mixing words, because he played a big role in what happened. And again, maybe if both of Gabby's fathers would know him better and would go hiking with him, by themselves, if they would do men stuff together, something would come out about him that would be red flag. Also, if she would share with her both of her dads, not just with her girlfriend but with both of her fathers, if she would share that she is in tears, that he took control of the keys, he didn't let her go out, he doesn't let her, he feels, it looks like he's happy when she's in tears. If she would be given this information consistently to both of her fathers, her stepdad and her biological dad, I think they would pretty much they would pretty much try to protect her from him. And that's, the only thing we can do now is, the retrospective, to save other young women and men as well. So I truly, truly, truly hope that girls all over the country, all over the world, girls her age and around it, will look at this and think, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go with a guy who did not prove himself. Maybe I should let, my dad to vet him, to see who he really is. Maybe I should not do everything on my own. I don't really know much about life, I don't really know much, right? So yeah, I really think that when you start your life, you doing this for the first time, and there is nothing wrong with your leaders, of the family, your mentors, I don't know, maybe your grandmother, grandfather, somebody who's been there, done that, to give you some perspective. It's important to share, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting abused, if you're getting hurt, verbally, emotionally, and God forbid, physically too, a lot of people are ashamed, because if you say this, you're afraid people will judge you, people would put you down. No, most people will do anything to help you or to find help for you, and to help you escape. This is most people who hold people hostage. They hope that you will never tell anybody, so it won't come out, and they can do it for as long as they can. They will hold you hostage as long as possible. They want you to be ashamed to share what happened to you. They want you to be ashamed, so you keep it silent. One of my, you know best friends had been in a situation where, you know, she was kept silent, and she was living in fear till she couldn't take it no more and she had to escape. Share with as many people. Don't worry about judgment. Most people who have empathy, they will never judge you. They will offer you support. They will, you don't even know what opportunities you can have if you share the truth. So these are my final thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me for the video. Good night, Elizabeth. Yeah, why did the police let them go? Why they did not kept an eye on them, you know, in those mountains, you know, like it's not like there is just nothing but nature. It's a good question. I'm sure they regretting that. I wish the police would be more experienced and feel something weird, because he was really trying to make that she was an abuser, you know. Abusers are usually a lot more detached, and um they usually don't look miserable. They're usually not in tears. Like they are the calm one, you know. Hey, look at this crazy woman here, man. Oh, thank you so much, Welfare. I love you, Slavic ways, Veronica. We need more of that here. Thank you so much. It's hard to say if they ever find them. It's going to be very hard to find them. I hope so. I really hope so. But he's probably in another country. He may try to change his appearance, try to change his name. It would be, I don't think he's in that park. I think he took off somewhere where it's much harder when you escape to another country. But again, I do not know, but I just know it's gonna be hard to find him regardless, whether he is here or somewhere else. Yep, be the change we want to see, exactly. Oh, thank you. Uh, Thank you so much. Thank you for the Cash App. I don't know why I can't read from who that is, but thank you so much. Guys, when you do some things for me, sometimes like write your name, because sometimes you have a nicknames that I don't know, like different identities everywhere. So thank you so much for the Cash App, and it just says, oh, says we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, David. Yes. They definitely should have eye on them in Wyoming, you know, definitely, because it's such a rural area, beautiful area, but you know, there is miles and miles and miles of nature where there is no civilization, and God knows what can happen. Yeah, I'm sure they regretting it, and I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose, but boy, so very sad. But I hope that all of us will learn lessons. It's insane. My heart is breaking, just like all of yours, you know, all of you guys who's watching, for her parents. Oh my goodness, it's just like, what a torture, you know, what a, like, it's like hell on earth. So very sad. But this example is, I truly do hope that some fathers and parents will have conversations with their young daughters and support them. We're not supposed to do this alone. You know, family used to be involved much more. Young women would get advice from their aunties and moms and dads. It was a lot more, but now we are all independent, you know. It's not true, you know, we are not. You learn. That's why we need mentors and teachers. Yes. Yes, it's so hard to snap out of it. Yes. You're welcome, Gregory. Thank you, my dear friends. Hearing this saved my life. Wow. Thank you, Marilyn. God mess got message through to me. You are someone's child, someone's sister, someone's mother. You matter to those who love you. It's like you're living in a fog. Hard to snap out of it. Yes. So the first step. Thank you, Merlin. I hope that you. Oh my goodness. I'm really deeply touched to hear this. Hearing this saved my life, got the message through to me. Yes, when you experience things, sometimes we tend to doubt ourselves. Maybe just my imagination. Maybe this, run it by somebody you trust. Run it by people, though, who have good lives. Don't run your situation, your circumstance with people that do not have the life you would want. The people who are living low life, who getting abused. Of course, they say, "Oh, you're doing great." He only slaps you in the face. He hits me with a chair. So hey, you have nothing to complain about. Share with those people that seem to be that appear wise and thoughtful and prosperous in different areas of their life, and you would love to be like them. They inspire you. We always have people like this in the community, no matter where you live. Now we have internet. You can even reach out to somebody who you have rapport and trust with, somebody who leaves you a message. Never get advice from somebody who is currently abused themselves, because they'll tell you, "Oh, this is just how men are," or "This is just how women are." Ask somebody who is doing well. And I think the first thing that help us to have this perspective is to acknowledge that is actually a problem. This is not normal. And then, sharing with somebody. Of course, it has to be somebody you trust, not somebody who will run your mouth and tell the abuser about it, and then you will get hurt more, right? But thank you so much, Marilyn. I am really deeply touched. And yes, all of us, every person you see on the street, they are someone's loved ones. They are someone's daughter, mom, dad, child. After I became a mother, I had one morning when I woke up and I realized everybody I see on the street is someone's baby. And because I just had a tiny little baby, but I looked at people of all ages, going, and some people go through hard times, some people battling things on their own. And at that time, I was in a very, very, it was happy, some of my most happy days. And I was thinking, everybody I see, it's someone's tiny, it's someone's baby. And it just like that made me cry. I've never thought about this. So, being kind to others, I hope we spread the virus of being kind. And don't ever feel ashamed when something happens to you. It's like in our Slavic culture, we were taught to be ashamed. If something happens to you, keep it quiet, don't tell anybody. Like, it's shameful. I was pretty much raised in this, but then I realized there is no way to learn who you are without connecting with others. And when you have things going on, if you do not ask for help, it's a guarantee you're gonna get none. But when you ask for help, you have a chance that somebody will say, "Yes, I can help you." "Oh yes, this is terrible." In the United States we have shelters. Yeah, it's not the most comfortable place to live, but it's a better place than getting beat and hurt every day, right? So I want to thank you guys again. It's getting dark. I promised I'm not gonna miss dinner time today. Thank you so very much for being with me, and I appreciate the kind words. I really do. And I think in order for other people to value us and behave with respect, we have to value ourselves first. All of this would not happen if Gabby would have a very healthy self-esteem, and she would say, "You know what, honey? Arrivederci. Get out." Or just not saying anything and just drive out and blocking him everywhere and calling the police. If she would have that confidence, this she would not this would never happen. She would not be found dead. So we need to learn to value our life and having the courage to end things that hurt us. It There is not a single positive side in that. but very many negative ones. Somebody says, my stepmom is from Ukraine. Her whole life is pretending so that the people from her village think she's living the American dream. Well, yes, it's funny because it's part of the culture, but it's not exclusive to Ukraine, that we want to make certain impression on somebody. We want to let people know that we are doing. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I thought you were just joking, like, about the lifestyle. I'm so sorry. Lavi, I'm gonna call you, says she's getting abused at home. It's not. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were just joking. Like, she's having some, like, people sometimes show us off on social media to show that everything is great. Yes. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, American dream has been weird lately. You need to make your own dream. But I'm sorry to hear that. So you're saying that she's abused at home, but she kind of like swallows it and don't tell anybody, and tells her family she's doing great and she living the life. Yeah, that's so sad, because it's like, then you don't have no place of self-expression. It's like, it's also pride. Sometimes you need to let your ego, drop your pride, and show up authentically and tell the family, I'm actually not doing so great. This is the truth, you know? Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. But you know what? Um, that's a decision that needs to be taken, but nobody can take it, unless the person that's involved in that. So, well, my dear friends, thank you so very much for joining. And I want to say I truly appreciate my new subscribers and people has been sharing their thoughts. I'm gonna try to sometimes do some shorter video just about the points. I know some people like long lives, some people like short videos, but sometimes it just, I have this amount of time, and my heart tells me, we need to connect, we need to talk. And thank you for those of you who commented and reached out. I know you wanted to part two on this case. I truly pray for their family. I pray for peace. And I truly hope that we will do better job with ourselves, our own lives, but also teaching the young ones, teaching those girls that nobody tells you you're not free, you are a slave of anything, or anybody, but don't afraid to ask for advice. There is something that older people have that young people don't, and that called experience. So we all need support, we all need that help, but the work starts with us. And I wish all of us to take a critical look and start to value our lives more, because it can obviously end at any moment. Thank you. I will see you soon.